The question is, how confident are you in Calvin Pickard? There seems to be a bit of a conversation going on Twitter, X, in our comment sections about Calvin Pickard and how a couple of his last few games haven't been great. The game against Anaheim wasn't good. He allowed 4 goals on 31 shots. He did bounce back nicely against Seattle. He started poorly against Chicago, bounced back really well. You could say the same thing in that San Jose game too, where he gave up the 2 early, then didn't give up another one. I do think there is something to the team plays well in front of him. When Pickard's in net, they seem to button it down. They rarely give up 30 shots in a game where Calvin Pickard is the starting goalie. And I see Chili goes, Rodrigue, please. And some people were posting Olivier Rodrigue's numbers this year in the American League. And like, don't get me wrong, they are good. He is putting together a nice season, a 917, a 265. He is young. I think he's the backup goalie of the future in this organization, because I do still believe Stuart Skinner is the long-term starter. But then you even look at a guy like Ollie Rodrigue, as everyone was making the noise that, hey, give him a start. He gives up 4 goals on 30 shots the other day against the Barracuda, and some of the goals were ugly ones. Would you be in on a Ollie Rodrigue stint? And what's your confidence level in Stuart Skinner?
In Skinner?
Yeah, or sorry, Pickard. Jesus.
No, I would not be in on Olivier Rodrigue call-up. I don't think we need to be there right now as the organization. And my confidence level in Pickard is fine. Like
1 to 10, where would you go?
7.
Okay,
that's where you want to be.
He's your backup goalie. You pay him $1 million. Like, people asking for this guy to be traded, sent down, all that kind of stuff. It's like, why is this a problem? Like,
don't forget what he did for us.
Exactly. Like,
how can we forget this?
It's such an interesting debate, because I agree. Like, you watch that game in Chicago, those first 2 goals against, he was not good. It was not good. Probably want to say one of those 2 at least. But the game against Anaheim, where he allowed 4, the team was so bad. They had 10 shots on goal through 40 minutes. And Pickard was making a ton of good saves in that game. It's definitely a game-by-game thing with him, for sure. But I think most of the time you're getting a pretty decent start out of him. And I was looking through yesterday. I went and looked at all the backup goalies in the NHL.
Yeah. You got a spreadsheet.
I'm a spreadsheet guy. Can we zoom in a little bit, Aaron? Yeah. Am I in control of this? Can I move things around?
Full sheet there.
This is a full sheet. So based off save percentage, he is not great by any means. And I think this leads to the question. I've kind of been thinking about this yesterday.
What's the case you're trying to make here?
Because his goals against as a backup goalie, he has the 4th best goals against in the NHL for backup goalies at 2.25. And the average is 2.88. So this also, like, to put some context into that, I keep shifting it the wrong way. Give me a second. There he is.
The fact that the team plays better in front of him.
So Calvin Pickard, his save percentage on the year is 896, and his goals against average is 2.5. The other goalies ahead of him who have a better goals against average, Scott Wedgwood, 2.35. Justus Annunen, which is funny because they were both traded for each other this season, 2.28. And Casey DeSmith has a 2.24. And then Jakob Dobes, who's in Montreal, is a 9.7.
Played 3 games.
He's played like 3 games, so he doesn't really count. But then you look at his save percentage, and it's not great. Like I said, 896. It's right down there near the bottom. So what matters to you, right? Like, he's allowing few goals against. He's maybe allowing some bad ones in, for sure. But I think for the most part, you're getting a pretty reliable performance out of him, right? Reliable. You're getting a decent performance. You know you can go into games with Pickard and win. I think that's the important part of
the team clearly thinks that.
I don't know about like reliable. To me implies that there's more consistency on the high end of things, right? Because he doesn't always stop the shots he's supposed to. But what I think you get from him is like actually relatively consistent.
Yeah, I think
like you're gonna give up probably a crappy one. You know there's gonna be one other one that probably makes you wins. The other team's gonna beat him with a good one. And you have to score 4 to win, which I know Naeem said he gets the cherry-picked easiest stats
because he's
easiest starts, and he still can't get to a 900. And I would say, yeah, he gets the cherry-picked easiest starts, which are the easiest games for the Oilers to pop their 4 or 5 goals and get wins with their backup goalie. Like, he's not a 1B.
No.
And he's never going to be a 1B. And like Kate Burns says that Pickard isn't a 1B, he's a backup. Yes, 1,000%. The Oilers have a workhorse starter in Stuart Skinner and a veteran backup. It's more of a traditional, it's more of an old school approach to how you do your goaltending. But here's the other thing. The Oilers barely spend anything on their goaltending. Like, go through the other cup contending teams in the NHL. The Oilers are spending
How much are we spending on Jack Campbell? And then how does that compare
Yeah.
against our
Sure.
combined goalie spend?
So yeah, that is a
Is
good
it
point.
very similar?
So they're spending 3.6 this year on Skinner and Pickard combined. If you count Jack Campbell's money, it goes up to 4.7. So the other teams who spend less than them that are what I would call cup contenders, Washington is spending under 2 mil on Lindgren and Logan Thompson. And that's unbelievable value. They're getting great value out of those two. It's one of the better tandems in the NHL. Colorado is spending 3.35 on their two, but they also have 475 in dead cap space on Alex Gorgiev. So they're spending pretty much the same as us. They're actually getting better goaltending from Blackwood and Wedgwood than the Oilers are from Skinner and Pickard. It's actually not even that close. But what happens next year? That jumps up to $6.75 million. Next year, the Oilers are still going to be spending $3.6 million on goaltending. And I know what some of the pushback will be from people in our YouTube chat is like, who cares how little they're spending? They're in a Stanley Cup window. They should be going out and trying to get more reliable goaltending. But in a salary cap world, and again, yes, bad contracts, mistakes, dead cap money, all of that kind of stuff. I get all of that. But in a cap world, if you're going to sit here and go, I want them to get Mackenzie Blackwood, I want them to get this guy or this other guy. Okay, then go to the defense. Let's say they have to spend $3 million more on their goaltending to accomplish and to get to a point where you're as confident as you'd like to be. If you're in this camp, that is. Where are you subtracting that $3 million? You could say it's, yeah, okay, you wouldn't sign Jeff Skinner. Sure. Yeah. All right. I suppose. But like, would you take is there $3 million you can save on the blue line? No, because extension's got to kick in. Yeah, maybe you can sit there and say, don't spend on Jeff Skinner. Don't spend on an Adam Henrique or a Victor Arvidsson and send that money to goaltending. But also with your forward system being as depleted as it is, you kind of are stuck in a spot where you have to sign veteran players because you don't have young guys coming up to play for dirt cheap.
The other stat that I forgot to read off here. So I did this yesterday morning, so I know there's a few games yesterday, so maybe these numbers are slightly swayed. But league average for backup goaltending in the NHL is 8.97. And Pickett is an 8.96. And that's also probably elevated a little bit because you have guys like Jakob Dobas.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah. And he's also too like, yeah, but I don't know. I think he's fine. Could they upgrade on him? Sure. If it came to it this summer, but this is not something I would even bring to my attention.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.